Hello and welcome back to Devlog. I'm introducing today. Neo Cryptid is here.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Well, we've had your EP, Agent of Chaos, given it a thorough listen.
Okay, fantastic.
Now, I have questions. I have many questions for this man. So, for a while now, you've been tearing it up around the circuit round here.
Yeah, very.
And I'm going to get into your live show in a bit, but first off, we're going to talk about Agent of Chaos.
Great.
So, is this so? What's the function of this EP? Is this your big introduction to the bigger audience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I released my debut EP, Animator, before I'd kind of done any live shows, just when the project was still kind of at conception. Mm-hmm. And it was all produced kind of in-house. So I recorded, produced, mixed, mastered. This is much bigger.
Yes.
It's a much bigger kind of outing. I've outsourced the mixing and mastering to Hall Audio, who've done a phenomenal job on it. And I think it just sounds ready.
Yes.
To be honest.
It's certainly an ambitious EP.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've got the right track listing because I've got a little preview.
Cool. Yeah,
version.
you have. Yeah.
But there's a track called Raveyard on it, which is very much in my yard. Dubstep influences coming through on that.
A lot of dubstep. Yeah. Big EDM influences throughout.
Absolutely. Is that a common denominator with your work? Is that something you take a lot of influence from?
It is. Yeah. I mean, I kind of spent a lot of my teenage years in two completely different camps of music, where on the one side I was really into my metal.
Yeah.
And then I think when I was 16, I wandered into Cyberdog one day in Camden.
Yes,
and,
wonderful shop.
Oh my God, suddenly electronic music existed alongside this. And then in lockdown, I kind of just hit a moment where I wanted to put both together in, which obviously has been done many times before, but in kind of new, weird ways.
Absolutely. I think what you bring to the idea of mixing metal and electronica is a very sort of like tech savvy sort of way of doing it, like where there's a lot of the time when you have metal and dance music or electronica mixed, it's just like the guitar parts are usually just chunk.
Very percussive guitar. Yeah.
They're sort of augmenting the beats, whereas you've got like very technically adept guitar on it.
That was the big thing I wanted to keep. Really, I wanted to do it whilst still having riffs, as opposed to, because you've got fantastic percussive guitar, electronica, but I love a riff.
Yes,
absolutely love a riff.
Yeah,
and so that was very much kind of what I set out to do.
One thing that sprung to mind when I was listening to the EP, that this would appeal very much to fans of artists like Devin Townsend a lot. I gather you're a bit of a fan, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah. Massive fan of Devin Townsend, strapping young lad right the way through to kind of his ambient albums, really. So and even more so kind of just in the spirit. I think it was very necessary to not give a damn whilst making this about kind of genres or directions.
It's definitely got that vibe that I got off Devin when I saw him live of being slapped in the face by a rainbow.
I will take that.
It's got
absolutely
that technicolored sort of like, it's definitely colourful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that. In a scene that's so obsessed with the monochromatic, music that can take things in like multicoloured. I don't know if that's because of my synesthesia, but that speaks to me.
What a wonderful thing to hear, man. No, I'm really glad you had that experience with it, because that's very much kind of what I want to bring to it.
Yes, and right. So we've got Raveyard on there. Now there's a word I want to check with you, see what it means. I'm going to do an edit here, George. Hello, and welcome back. I've got my notes. Right, the word I want to know about is you have a track called Abian Pact.
Yes.
What's an Abian Pact? What's the song about?
So Abian was a figure in Irish folklore, kind of a demigod of the harp.
Right.
And the song is very much about kind of the relationship between performer and audience.
Nice.
Obviously, the audience is using performers to kind of get out their stress from life and everything they kind of need. And the performer is doing exactly the same with the audience.
So that would be the pact.
The pact between them, yeah. So the chorus, which goes, I'll give you the fuel to build up the pyre, You'll give me the blood to boil out the pain. It's it's an exchange, and
Right.
I think quite a positive
That's fabulous.
exchange throughout. But yeah, that's the central premise of that one.
And the other track on the EP that references fire, obviously being "Immolate Me," which is your lead-off single.
Yes, yeah, that is out on the 8th of March, which may,
Yeah.
I think probably the second most upbeat song about nuclear holocaust in existence.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, we're all hanging on this edge, right, where it's looking more likely by the day.
Oh God.
And
Yes.
Immolate Me kind of deals with the fact: are you going to spend all the time between now and then sitting there worrying about it, or are you just going to dance until the fires start? And
That's a very good message.
yeah, that's
If it's going down, we might as well go down rave.
rejoice in our immolation, as it goes, and it's not that it's a good thing,
No.
but if we can't change it,
Then
why not enjoy what we have?
You don't want to spend your last days crying, do you?
Absolutely.
No. I'll be on the front of that tornado. Yes. Now you're well known around the underground. You've made like more of a name for yourself than I think you would have done with a full band by being like a one man.
Yep.
And when I say one man band, you're touring.
Yeah,
Your entire rig.
I am. Yeah,
It goes on a trolley.
it does.
It's called Dead Nan.
It is called Dead Nan. Yeah.
Tell me the story behind Dead Nan, and then I will let you guys know how much stuff goes on Dead Nan.
So, effectively, when I first loaded up the trolley, and then put a tarp over it in case it rains, it effectively looks like I've rendered someone's grandmother. And I'm just walking around with a corpse under this on wheels, basically, like a wheelchair. And then because there's a light up here and then the rest down here, it's very kind of head and body shape.
Yeah.
And I just realised I was getting a lot of funny looks, and hence Dead Nan
Right.
became the kind of way we go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you tour like literally using public transport a lot of the time, don't you?
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
It's
I mean, this takes DIY to a whole new level.
Some would say insane. But yeah, it's I'm working towards being in a place where that's not going to be the case. But as it stands, I don't want to delay performing and kind of getting this out there any longer.
It certainly makes a lot of bands look like they're not trying hard enough.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's a good workout as well. Lifting 50, 60 kilograms on and off of trains.
But you definitely talk the talk and walk the walk, because, like, I've seen many Instagram posts of like Dead Nan's lost a wheel, or whatever, or I need to sleep somewhere tonight,
Yeah.
But I remember in the early days, Witch Fever, hearing stories of them just taking megabus, cymbals, guitars, breakables, and just doing it that way as well.
Absolutely.
There's been, history is littered with the bands that tend to do well are the ones that will walk the walk.
It is an effort, but it pays off, and it's a joy. Really,
Absolutely,
at the end of the day.
and that's and that independence I find is pretty great.
Yeah, it's very freeing.
Yes,
to be able as a one-man project as well to kind of, when you're offered a gig, not do the ring group, not have to worry about your bassist who's a chef and your drummer who's a bartender. So you're just like, oh, am I free? Yeah, cool. Let's go.
Off we go. Yeah, and that independence obviously in your music, because you do everything in your music.
Yeah, everything.
So what's the songwriting process like when you're coming up with something? Is it riff first or is it beats first?
It is so dependent on the song. Quite often it's riff. Riff first. But sometimes the lyrics will kind of come and then they'll hang around for ages until the riff appears. And then when you get the right riff, you're like, that's it. That's the one for this song. That definitely, because it fits with the music. Like the beginning of Immolate made the first riff, I call it the washing machine riff, because it's just absolute chaos. And then it kind of breaks through the clouds into a much more melodic riff. Yeah. And it felt right for like everything's on fire, but
awesome. So you're doing things, you're also like sort of painting pictures in your head as well.
Very much so.
This is a wonderful thing. And it's something I spoke to another composer recently about, and I say composer because he is, by the new issue of Devolution, find out who. But yeah, we were talking about that kind of painting pictures with sound sort of thing. Yeah. The kind of synesthesia that some of the best producers and artists have, where they think, how do I
replicate
this thing with music.
Definitely, yeah.
And I get that from your writing.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I think I don't think I have kind of full on synesthesia like with colors and stuff, but definitely painting pictures with the music is a big thing for me.
Absolutely. Now, talking of like, colors and stuff like that, you also do all your own lighting.
I do, yeah.
And you have he has a lighting rig that would put a lot of raves to shame, I have to say.
Thank you, man.
What got you started on the lighting, which I presume comes off your MIDI, does it?
Yeah, so it all kind of works to the click track.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of in one rig that works well. I don't know. I've always been obsessed with it. This is the first project where I've been able to kind of use anything on this scale. But I was in a metalcore band maybe 7 years ago where I had like one of those foot switches that old people use to turn on and off lights if they can't quite get off the sofa. And I had that rigged up to a bank of strobes, and you'd be like, and they go off, And this is. I've been dreaming of doing something like this for maybe half a decade, and then lockdown gave me the kind of time to really learn how to do it properly.
Sure.
And get it to the point where the aim is to put almost an academy level show into small venues.
Yeah. Absolutely. And sticking it all on the back of a trolley.
Yeah, carrying it with me to venues by myself.
Which is so incredible.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Again, insane, incredible, but it works. And what is insanity if it works? But
yeah. I mean, and it also means you can play, you have played literally anywhere.
Yeah.
I've seen images of you playing on bandstands.
Yes, yeah, that was a wonderful event in Saltaire Festival. Very weird but incredible thing to play in the middle of the day when I'm used to dark rooms and lasers.
Awesome. And then obviously you've got gigs coming up.
Yep.
With our friends Pulverized.
Yes, very excited.
Stray Weather.
Pulverized and Stray Weather.
That's next door.
It is, yeah, the Key Club in May.
Awesome.
May 30th. That is.
Right. Well, that's not time sensitive because this will be out before then. So May 30th, Key Club, right next door to Chili Shop, Leeds people.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And anything else? Any other?
I mean, I'm all over the place, to be honest.
Keep an eye on the Instagram.
Keep an eye on the Instagram. I'm going up and down the country. I'm just being booked in more in the Midlands and Birmingham again towards the end of the year. Not announced yet, but hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Everywhere I can, really. Everywhere I can go, everywhere that I can spread this kind of bouncy music too. I'm hyped to bring it there. So.
And I get the impression that you're not a man who says no to gigs very often.
Generally not. No, I love it.
I don't either.
Yeah, love performing. Love again the Avi impact, that interaction between audience and performer, and it's just the looks on people's faces when they see something that maybe they haven't quite seen before.
Oh no, absolutely.
Is wonderful.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to touch on before you go, it was vocally on this record.
Yes.
I was very impressed by the range you have, because you've got a very Randy Blythe kind of bark.
Yes.
Which really appeals to me because I'm a big Lamb of God fan.
That's good.
But also there's like this industrial kind of proper industrial vocal, which reminds me of KMFDM or Ministry or something like that. And then, Nikki, you're going to like this, you've got a bit of a Pete Steele thing going on at one point in the EP.
I know where that's in Displacer Beast, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Is that for the ladies?
It's more, it just felt right at the time. It just felt right at the time. And I've never considered myself a good singer. A lot of my singing I've learned whilst doing Neo Cryptid. I do think I'm a pretty good screamer, and I learned a lot of that from Randy Blythe. From listening to Lamb of God as a teen. And
there's a thing if you've got that range, and you can hit that sort of part scream, part growl thing that he does so well, and also he does it with a kind of melody to it.
I think the tonality in the scream is really important to me, because
it's like screaming in tune.
Yeah, it's very easy to just get a very monotone kind of sound when you're screaming. If you don't, whereas if you can kind of go through the range, it gives you a lot more room to kind of. I mean, you've got the super high screams on "Immolate Me," and then really low ones in Avi, and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's my range is something I'm definitely working on, but I'm really glad it came across.
Yeah, it does, and there's I would say, like, you know, for an EP, there's so many different things in there, but they all work perfectly together. Nothing feels like it's been shoehorned in.
Great.
Like, you know, which is always a worry with hybrid music, that it's just hybrid for the sake of hybrid.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But it works as like a cohesive batch of songs. So one last question, I'm asking this to everyone this year, because we're going to make a Spotify playlist at the end of the year out of all of these songs. So any genre, right? The national curriculum, I've asked you to pick a song that all kids must hear before leaving school. So for their formative years anthem, between the ages of 16 and 18, what do you think they should be listening to?
Ooh.
Any genre. And we've had all kinds of answers.
I'm going to go with probably quite a predictable answer and go with Devin Townsend's Kingdom.
That's a great song. That's the first mention of Devin Townsend we've had. So that's amazing.
I think it's a gateway song into a lot of different kinds of music.
Absolutely. And the nerds need something, don't they? Absolutely. We all do. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with me here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And when is the EP out?
The EP will be out in June. And there'll be singles out right the way through till then. So.
And just catch them everywhere and anywhere.
I'll see you there.
See you later.